love, what's up? Welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. I'm your host, Jago, health and lifestyle coach and not-so-regal confidence queen. Coming at you with the real, the raw, and of course, the uncomfortable. My mission is to show you that to be confident, it has absolutely nothing to do with being perfect or having it all together, and everything to do with you getting uncomfortable and pushing your limits. Thanks for joining me. Let's dive in. I am so excited for you guys to meet my friend and amazing coach, Lynette Hoyle. I've been following her for a while. If you're not following her, you should, but some of you probably already are. She's in this really unique transition with her life. I'm really excited for her to share her story, past as well as present and future. So you're going to learn so much from her. I'm going to let her introduce herself, but welcome to the show, Lynette. Thanks for being here.
Hi. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. And it's so funny. You said you'd been following me for a while, and I'm like, girl, we've been following each other for
so long.
3+ years. Like I'm new here. Give me a break.
She's not new, y'all. It's so funny though, because we've seen each other in real life twice. Yeah. And Tom will refer to you and other friends as like my online friend, like my virtual friends. I'm like, yeah. They're real. They're really real. Yeah. So these connections are so real if you guys haven't noticed it, but definitely looking forward to hearing more about your story. I feel like I know a lot of it, but just having other people share kind of where you're at. So I'd love for you to share just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I am an online coach. I was an online fitness coach for about 6 years. I launched my fitness coaching business online in 2015. And just this past month, I transitioned fully out of fitness coaching and fully into business coaching.
Give it up for Lynette for the pivots, y'all.
So it's, I actually ran both businesses in tandem for a few years. I took my first business client at the end of 2018 and I actually created my main signature group coaching program for business coaching in 2019. Since then, I've had over 150 women go through that program. So, me making this transition this past month, it's not like, oh, I'm starting a business over from
ground up. It's a long time coming.
Yeah, I've been running both a full fitness coaching business with usually 50 to 100 clients at a time in my various fitness programs, as well as usually 30 to 40 business clients as well. And so, so just recently I made a full switch into business coaching, and outside of what I do for work, I'm turning 30 in August. So weird. I'm about to turn 30. I have been married for 8 years to my awesome husband, who also works online. He's a relationship coach.
Yes, go follow him too, guys. We'll put his info in there too, because
why not?
Support our husbands.
I love true crime podcasts and
love obsessed. Don't even try and obsess with true crime, y'all.
Literally before this podcast, I was like making a meal for 20 minutes and I was like, I can fit one in. And so I'm like making my healthy lunch as I'm listening to like the story of a serial killer in Australia. It's fine. So yeah, I love true crime podcasts, true crime novels. I love the outdoors. I love cats. I love what we do. I love the online space. I love social media. I think that it's such a cool avenue for people and just like a wealth of possibilities online. So yeah, that's kind of me.
Yes, I love this lowdown. Very good description of you, Lynette. I mean, you undersold the true crime, but it's all right. You guys, you'll get to know Lynette really, really quickly just from following her, because she's such an open book and very just honest about what she does. And I love that you did that with all of your clients too. And it's why you grew your business in such an authentic way. And I almost feel like, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, why you continue to kind of juggle both, like your business and your fitness, because you truly care about helping people. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, completely. Even though I, over the last couple of years, had kind of felt my passion shifting out of fitness and shifting into business, at the heart of my business, really the heart of my brand is just loving to see women win. And I say that all the time, is that I love to see women win. They're so, for like what you love to help people with, like most women don't believe in themselves, don't believe that they can do hard things, have seen themselves, fail or not meet certain benchmarks for so long that they literally completely refuse to believe that they're capable of anything amazing.
Mhm.
And, I see this again and again in fitness and business, in every area of life, that so many women just don't believe in themselves and don't believe in what they can do. And so, again, in both fitness and in business, that was something that I loved to do, was to just show women that they frickin' could do it.
Yes.
Whether you wanted to like lose weight or you wanted to build a business, you can literally do anything. Like half the battle is just like believing for 5 seconds that you can.
Yes. So true. And you did a really good job with that. And I kind of want to come back to this because, like you said, I very much relate to it because I want to help women too. And we've recognized from the start that whether it's fitness or business or any kind of growth that you're leveling up into, mindset is so freaking tied to it, and believing in yourself and not, letting that self-doubt get in the way. So typically I find that like the coaches I talk to, women I talk to that are helping other women get there, have their own story that kind of got them to that point of getting past the disbelief and the self-doubt. So I'd love to kind of hear your story. You can start wherever you want. Hospital room day one, or just somewhere in the middle. We'll catch there, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about your story of overcoming that self-doubt and disbelief wherever you'd like to start.
Sure. Yeah. I feel like I have a fitness story of self-doubt and a business story of self-doubt. And
let's go there.
Funny, Jordan, you came in at the business story of self-doubt. Like that's where you entered my world. But
so exciting.
The fitness one started where I think it starts for a lot of us, which was in my childhood, being the chubbier kid in class. I even have a twin sister who was always like 25 pounds lighter than me, which was so weird. Even your own twin is like smaller than you. And so from a very young age, elementary school, I had an awareness of, oh, I'm a big girl. And of course, kids in school are cruel, and definitely made sure that I knew that throughout middle school. And then through high school, I decided like, well, I'm going to do something about it, right? We all try those 7-day diets or the detox things through high school, just so desperate to get the weight off, to a point where in high school, I basically was going as long as I could without eating. I had many, many months of time where I was just trying to eat 500 or 600 calories a day. It was like a contest with myself of like, how long can I go without eating before I absolutely crash? And then how little can I eat before I, right? Like it's so sad, but so many of us have had that experience, just that obsession, that desire to be lean or thin or whatever. But long story short, that always comes with a consequence. You cannot crash diet like that without, just mental and hormonal consequences of your body swinging in the other direction, your mind swinging in the other direction. So gained all that weight back towards the end of high school, beginning of college, and actually really reached my peak weight the first year of college because I was super unhealthy. Fast food for every meal. I was in college, right? So like, what are we all doing in college? We're like, it was not a healthy time. It was definitely not a healthy time. And so I think it was in college that, first couple of years of college that I was like, I want to like actually take care of myself. Like I want to lose weight, and I want this to be like for life. Like I want to be the girl who's like the healthy girl, right? That had never been my identity, is to be the healthier fit girl. I was like the McDonald's girl. Okay. And so that really started my health journey, but I had a lot of self-doubt because, again, I'd been heavier most of my life. And that was a big piece of my identity, was I thought I was the big girl. I thought I was the girl who started a million diets and never saw them through, who, always had to resort to crash diets and then never kept the weight off. And so I really struggled for a while mentally to just find a new, I don't know, not even like a new version of myself, but really just a version of myself that I could believe in, and then like, go forth and do the things that I wanted to do. And gosh, I think the first half of my 20s, from like 20 to 25. I mean, I was a bikini competitor when I was 22, 23. And that was when I got super obsessed with fitness and like got super lean and counted and tracked every single grain of rice that I ate. And did all the super extreme things we've done for fitness because we thought we were supposed to, or we thought it was the best thing to do, or we were like terrified of having body fat. And, in a way, watching myself do that and accomplish that brought a sense of confidence. But I think also the end of that experience, the competing and the getting super lean also showed me that I was really just like throwing myself into opportunities to prove myself. And, my question for myself at that point, and I was young, I was like 23, 24, but I was already asking these questions of like, what am I trying to prove? And who am I actually? Like, what do I actually want for my life and my health long term? Because chances are I don't think I want to avoid restaurant eating and dessert for the rest of my life. So, my mid 20s is really when I started refining myself in health and wellness and creating a really balanced journey for myself, which, at the peak of my fitness coaching, the most signature popular program I have was called Balance and Thrive. It's actually still the name of my podcast. But I created Balance and Thrive to help other women like me who had gone through the dieting ringer for so long and struggled with, extreme diets and not believing in themselves, but really wanted to get a healthy weight, maintain a healthy weight without the extremes or like the mental ping pong of like diet brain, right? Or like always feeling like you're on a freaking diet. So that's part of why I loved fitness coaching, was being able to take women through that experience of like teaching them how to take care of themselves in a balanced way, as well as being the coach that's like, hey, you can do this. Like, I know you've never done it before. I know you have tried this 100 times and failed, but congratulations, you are attempt number 101 and I'm not letting you fail. Like, this is the time that you're going to follow through.
This is different.
Yeah. And just let them believe in themselves. And it's crazy how just giving yourself that permission to believe in yourself, actually, it's literally like the fuel that we need to actually see things through, because we typically start to fail, not because of obstacles, I find, but because we start questioning if we can actually do this. Right.
Exactly.
And the second that we feel like we can't do it is when we start to give ourselves permission to pull back and to not do hard things.
Yeah. Exactly. And it goes with fitness, and it goes with minds, like with anything you're trying to pursue, is like the second you start to tell yourself, oh, I can't do this. Or even if you haven't messed up yet or failed yet, you're like, okay, I'm going to fail anyway. And you almost like self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you start to do these things to self-sabotage and say, see, I knew I couldn't do this. I knew it was just like every other time. But I love what you do as a coach and still continue to do with your business clients, is like show them like, hey, you can still like show up for yourself imperfectly and keep showing up for yourself and make progress within yourself, within your business, within your fitness goals. And it's such a beautiful thing. It's why I resonate with you so much as a coach, because that's how my approach is with Body Confident Blueprint and my clients. So I love where you're at with that and how you've continued that through now with business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, what you said is exactly right, is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because we believe we can't do it. And then we literally give ourselves permission to fail. And I see it in business. I see it happen in business as well. And I think it's really starts with, it's, for a lack of better term, for a lack of a cliche here, it starts with your mindset. And it's so funny, when I was in fitness, I had clients give me grief about like mindset coaching, or like, I don't want mindset, just like tell me how to lose 20 pounds. And I was like, babe, you haven't lost 20 pounds because your mindset sucks, because you literally think you're a failure. And every single time that you mess up, that's the end of it for you. And like, that's a whole, other thing in the fitness realm, or even the business realm, is that people are so black and white about their performance that, as soon as something doesn't go right, oh, well, I've failed and I have to start over. Like, bro, you've been working out consistently for the last 3 weeks and you missed one workout and now you have to start over. Like, those 3 weeks of leg days didn't count, or like are suddenly disqualified because you missed a day of working out, or like you skipped your cardio one day, right? We become so black and white about our journeys, right? Because we have this idea in our heads of like, this is how it's supposed to go. When I start losing weight, I'm supposed to lose 2 pounds a week until I hit my goal, or else I've messed up, I've failed, I get really down on myself, I give up. And in business, it's this similar thing. They assume like, well, I'm going to start working with a business coach. I'm going to like build up my business. And like, by the end of 3 months, I'm going to be making $10,000 a month online. And like, when that doesn't quite happen, people are like, what the hell? And, they have like, again, like this black and white expectation of what their journey's supposed to go like. And if it's not perfect, they assume failure, when something I tell my clients, both fitness and business, is that failure is not actually a thing unless you give up, right? Like failure only actually happens when we quit. Because if you don't quit, every single thing that you've done, every single thing in your past, every choice, every decision, no matter how well or unwell it went, it is taking you closer to where you want to be, right?
Mm-hmm. And I love how you said that it really does tie in with both like your fitness and your business. And I also want to kind of come back to some things that you said that really were shifting for you, was asking yourself the question, like, what am I trying to prove? So when you're creating these like goals of like, I want to lose weight, or I love how you said the 10K, because that's like the hot topic people talk about. It's like 10K months. I want to have 10K months. I want to do this. And it's like, what am I actually trying to prove? Because I've gotten to the point where I've done the 10K months and I'm like, that's not all there is, that's not all there is in life. And I've gotten to the point where I've been smaller than I am right now. And I know you have too. And you realize like, that's not all there is in life. And so, breaking up with this identity we continue to create and box ourselves in with, that I think is a huge theme I see in your journey as well as my journey. Because you mentioned, and I relate to this so much, like the big girl, like that was like my identity. I was always like the biggest one of my friend group. And I was always like comparing myself to that. And then even like through going to like the beginning of my 20s, like going to weddings, and you're like, all the bridesmaids are lined up. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to be the tallest one, the biggest one, again and again and again. And it's like breaking up with that identity and shifting to a new one. But then it became like the healthy girl. So then we can even get caught up in that identity too. Yeah. So I want to ask, like, because someone might be caught up in one of those two identities, or maybe they're caught up in a part of their business where they want to shift into a new identity. Like, how did you break up with getting so stuck in like one identity to create, instead of an identity, more just like Lynette? You know what I mean?
I love that question. I think what really changed for me was probably in the last 3 years of my life or so. I, started realizing like, wow, I'm really leaning hard on these identities and letting pieces of me or accomplishments of mine define me. When in reality, it's like you say, like you hit the 10K month, you hit the 20K month, the 50K month, and you think it's going to mean something. And then it happens and it doesn't mean anything, or, it might mean something, but it's so underwhelming. Or, when I stepped on stage to compete 5 years ago or 6 years ago, it was like, this is it, like 22 weeks of like killer work. And I just like trotted on stage like a farm animal for 13 seconds and then walked off. Like that was it. So I think what I was alluding to is, in the last couple of years, I've really asked myself, like, what do I value as a person versus what are benchmarks I think I need to meet? And that'll preach for like so many different ways, right? Because I know there are probably so many millennial women listening to this right now who feel bad because they're not married, feel bad because they don't have kids, don't have a house, live with mom and dad, right? So we have these ideas of these like benchmarks that, signify success, or, a collection of benchmarks that bring us an identity, right? I want to be the fitness coach who is like super fit and makes a ton of money and like has a huge following. And that's what means, I'm successful. And like, that's who I am, is like the fitness coach with 60,000 followers. And like, those things like actually don't matter. Like, we've seen the memes or the things online that say like, when you die, it's your ideal weight's not going to be printed on your tombstone. The amount of Instagram followers you had is not going to be printed on your tombstone or even talked about at your funeral. Like, what I really realized is, as I achieved different levels of success or had certain accomplishments or the lack thereof, I started asking myself, like, what actually would bring me fulfillment versus just like that momentary happiness or something I could share with people. Like, if the internet went away, all social media was gone, and I just lived in my house with me and my husband and my 2 cats, what are the things that I would still value at the end of the day? What's important to me? And what do I want to be known for as a person? That people who know Lynette personally are like, she is the girl who is this, and she does this, and she makes people feel like this. And that has become so much more important to me, and has been what I've been chasing more so than a lot of these other benchmarks that I thought meant something or made me a certain type of person. Because at the end of the day, the person you are is just the choices you make and how you take care of other people, how you serve other people, the mark that you're leaving on the world. And it's not about benchmarks. It's just it's just about being yourself. Oh God, that sounds so lame, but
No, I love it. Listen, I'm here for cliches, but it's the truth. It is so true. And I just see so many women who do get caught up in the identity, whether it's like their identity of like a mom or like their career or like a wife, or it's like they get stuck in one thing and they think that that's all they can be once they've checked that box. And it's just not true. You said it so well, like it's the choices you make. And so that means if that's the truth here, which I agree with you, but let's go a little farther. If it's the choices you make, then all you have to do is make the next choice. You're not stuck, right? And so I think that's so powerful, because I think it's something you've continued to do in your own life, and you teach other women to do the same, is like, instead of having this identity crisis, step away from it all, step out of that box that someone's either tried to put you in or you've put yourself in, and then ask yourself, what do I actually want? Like, what does this mean to me? I love that idea that you said of like, if the social media didn't exist, if this didn't, like, if your identity, whatever it is that you fill the blank with as your identity, if that wasn't there, what's left? I think is a huge part. And so that is how I would say I had to break up with my identity crisis. I feel you on that, by the way. Is there anything else that you would say to someone who's kind of feeling stuck in that, where they're wanting to make a shift? Maybe they're wanting to take a chance, but there's a lot of self-doubt. Like, what are probably the biggest things that helped you when you were going through that leveling up in your business or fitness?
I think what has really been something I've told myself over the last year, whenever I'm like kind of in these shifts, or I'm like, identity crisis is literally like what comes to mind, especially what the shift I've just made recently. And, you know, it can feel so big and monumental and consequential. Like, if I do this, or if I don't do that, like, what are people going to think, or what are people going to say? But something I tell myself constantly is, no matter what, you can handle it. No matter what, you can handle it.
Love that.
And also, any choice you make, you could just make a different choice if you needed to, right? We act like, you know, the decision to like start a diet on Monday is like the be all end all, and we have to follow through, and we can never change our minds. And like, you know, like, it's this big thing. Well, like, guess what, homie? Like, if 2 weeks later you decide that that choice doesn't serve you, you can like literally pivot. You can literally change your mind and like just change your mind. You know, it's funny. I have a girl in my business actually who, it's like every year she has kind of a different business that she's working on. And she one time said to me, she's like, I feel like I'm kind of flaky. I feel like I never stay in anything for very long, and it makes me feel insecure. And people have told me I'm flaky. And I was like, oh no, you're actually amazing, because the second something stops serving you, you literally walk away. And I wish I had that like level of just like faith in myself to just like leave something I've been building and go build another thing.
Powerful.
Right? Like someone who's just like, oh, I don't like that anymore, so I'm going to stop. Like, what? How many men would we be leaving right now if we all had that level of audacity?
Seriously, like, you no longer serve me. Goodbye.
Bye.
Close that door. Oh my gosh, I love that. And it comes back to like, I don't know if it's a millennial mindset, and people listening can tell me if they're over under on that, but like, I feel like we were taught almost at a young age to like specialize. Like, oh, you like to swim? You better specialize in swimming and do it for year round. Like, oh, like if you're good at this one thing, you need to fully specialize in it. And it's like, we were almost taught that like you're a quitter if you find a new passion, if you go into a new thing. And I love that you've proven that that is not the case. And so I think a lot of people might struggle with stepping away from something that maybe isn't quote unquote serving them when they look at their values, but to an outside like person looking in, they're like, wow, but you're so successful, but like, why would you ever leave that? So I'm sure you've either had these questions asked or they've gone on in your head. So like, what would you say now you're on the other side? So like you've made that pivot, you're making those big steps. What would you say to someone who's kind of afraid to take that big step in their life?
I mean, there's a lot behind my decision to, you know, if I'm assuming you're referring to my decision to leave fitness coaching and move into business coaching, for sure. And I've had a lot of people be so confused, like, wait, but like your business was so successful. Like, wait, you're so good at this. You're like the OG balance queen in the fitness industry. Like, why would you walk away from that? And even my parents are like, your brand is going to crumble. And I'm like, okay, dad.
Thanks, guys.
But you know, I think, I mean, quite honestly, to be totally honest with you, I was getting stuck. I was stuck in fitness longer than I should have stayed in there because of this identity I had in it. Right. Like I even shared that with my audience that I was like, I probably should have left fitness coaching a little bit ago. I still love it. I'm still very good at it, but I knew in my heart I wanted to shift out of it probably 6 to 8 months ago. And I didn't because I felt like that was what my identity was rooted in. I thought that's why people loved me. I thought that if I shifted that people wouldn't love me or that people would leave me, that I wouldn't be successful, that, you know, like it's so hard to even describe. It's like, I'm just the fitness chick. I can't like not be the fitness chick or the balanced fitness chick. Yeah. But again, I think what I kept telling myself is like, well, first of all, you have to do what you want to do. Like life is way too dang short to just spend time doing what other people want you to do, to finish college because your parents want you to do it, to have kids earlier than you want to because your spouse wants you to do it, to you know, stay in a job because it's a good idea, even though you hate it. Yeah. Like life is way too short to spend the best years of our lives doing anything like that. So that was behind me. First of all, I was like, Lynette, come on. Like, you literally decided to become an online coach because you were sick of the status quo or sick of doing what everyone said you had to do. So like, we're not going to do that again. But the second thing, again, I just told myself, whatever happens, you can handle it. Like if all your followers leave and everyone messages you telling you it's a terrible idea, I have amazing news for you, Lynette. You will still have you. You will still have you, which if you're not, you know, a comfortable person with yourself, if you're not confident in yourself, that may not be very comforting. But, you know, if there's anything that I've really come kind of into, I mean, God, I'm turning 30 this year. I feel like maybe that's just like the time or what I've, you know, spent the last 5 years really working on is I trust me now. I trust me to take care of me. Yeah. I trust myself to like, no matter what comes my way, I can handle it. I can move through it and I'm going to bounce back. So, you know, I think, you know, if someone is hearing this and they're like, I don't trust myself, like try. You know, like I think you have every reason to have faith in yourself because chances are you want the best for yourself. You want good things. You want noble things, right? Like I'm sure your highest aspirations are not to like murder people. I'm sure it's like
go straight to murder because of your crime obsession, but yes.
I was trying to think of a softer example. It wouldn't come.
No, like, this is perfect.
Straight to murder. You know, most people are good. I genuinely believe that most people are good. They want good things for themselves. They want to be good to others. If that is who you are at your base, you have every reason to trust yourself and trust that, hey, even if you make a wrong decision, you can get through that. I'm sure we can all think of decisions we made that were like, dang, I really wish I hadn't done that. Yeah, but also you're still here. Like also you're still here killing it and like making progress and making changes and, you know, falling in love and having an awesome life and having a fun time. Like that was you, girl. Like you did that to yourself. You got yourself through that. You brought yourself up. Like that was you. You have every reason to believe and trust that you are always going to take care of you.
It's powerful. Oh, so powerful. And, I don't know about you, but I used to not have a lot of self-trust. I used to really not trust myself. And so I heavily leaned on other people for affirmation and accolades. Yes. And that's truly where I found my self-worth. So I would get so almost lost in whatever identity I'd associated with or thought my friends associated with me, that I was afraid that like, if I were to change, if I were to level up in a new way, I would lose everything, you know? And there was this like fear that kind of came about with that. And then you had to realize like, you're more than that. So if you're caught up in an identity crisis, like you were saying, where you think, I love how you said this with like your fitness, like people come to me for this. That's why they're connected to me. And it's like, no, they're connected to you because of you. And we're fluid. We're going to change. Like we're going to evolve. And so if people are caught up and they're like, oh, you're not showing up the same way you used to, whether this is like a friendship or a business or whatever, then they are not your people because they're not recognizing that like, hey, I am meant to grow and change. Like we're literally like, there's no growth without change. Like there has to be, and we're supposed to do that. And so I just know so many people have like felt that way and maybe feel a little disconnected and they're afraid of being alone. And so I just appreciate you sharing that part of your story of like, hey, like you can make this shift and like connect with other people. I feel like it's why I've been able to connect with you, is like seeing you show up for your clients in the way that you do, being different than every other fitness coach has really inspired me to do the same with mine. So I wanted to say thank you, Lynette, for your journey, because it's helped inspire mine. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're so sweet. But I mean, I love that. I love what you said. And, I think at the end of the day, something a business coach told me once was, which was so helpful, was people don't hire coaches, they hire people, right? Or like people don't hire a weight loss specialist, they hire the person,
Yes.
which is, just like you said, that the root of your brand is not what you can do, it's who you are. Right? People hire Jordan, not just because of what Jordan can do, but because they've connected with you as a person. And so even though we may have the accolades or want them or want the accomplishments or like the idea of being known for a thing, at the heart of it is you, and you're the one that makes it all possible. And so, when I shifted from fitness into business, I told my audience, like, this may feel like a really big shift for you, but it's not a big shift for me. Because since day one, my goal has been helping women win, like just helping them get what they want, achieve what they want, believe in themselves to the point where they're actually taking action and making things happen and like enjoying themselves, like liking themselves, right? Like that's what I do. It just so happens that I used to help women do it to lose weight. And now I help women do it to make money online, but that's really been the heart of it this whole time.
Yeah. And so you've stayed true to who you are, and I think it speaks volumes, because a lot of people are trying to just like float from thing to thing, or like whatever they think they can hide behind an identity of. And like, you will not be fully fulfilled. I think you said that with your own journey, is recognizing like, I've had the things, I've had the money, I've had the body, I've had all those things. But like, if you're not fulfilled in like what you actually want out of life, how you want to leave this world and what impact you want to make, you're going to feel empty regardless.
Yeah, totally. I mean, how old are you, Jordan? I forget.
So that's what you said, the 30. I'm 29, so I'm turning 32. So I feel that like societal pressure, right? It's crazy. Like we felt like we had almost prefaced that. I could go all day with that, but we could preface that, like you said, like, oh, I'm turning 30. It's you feel that, right?
Yes. Oh, totally. I'm like, oh, I'm 30 and I don't have 14 children. Fail.
Same. I feel that.
But that's even something that I've worked through and been like, hey, you know what? Like, even if I don't have kids, that's totally awesome and totally okay. And like, I get to define what good in life means for me. And, the reason I ask about your age is because I'm just like, I feel like 20s are so hard. And side note, my therapist tells me 30s are better and 40s are the best.
That's what they tell me. That's what they tell me.
They say it just keeps getting better, but 20s are so hard. I think that, that craving for identity and craving for stature and notoriety, and especially in the social media age, where like, gosh, so random, but I was at my doctor's office the other day and she's the same age as us, which is like, side note, Jordan, people our age are doctors.
It's so weird to me. That same thing happened to me. I was like, wait, what?
Yes. She was like, you're 29. Oh, I'm 29 too. I'm like, does your mom know you're here?
My mom's still making my appointments over here. So glad you're like, got it together.
Wow, you're a whole doctor. Congratulations. But I was talking with her about like what I do. And she like was making a joke about social media. And she's like, gosh, like, I can't imagine doing what you do. Like if I post a photo of my kids and it doesn't get enough likes, it ruins my day. And I'm like, bro, like, it's not even just like coaches, like social media has got us like effed up.
Everyone. Oh man. There are studies on this generation.
Oh, right. Well, and I think, in 20s, it's hard to step out of that. It's hard to zoom out. You're so in it and it's like everything to you. Yeah. And I say that as someone who's still in my 20s who like can be touched by that. Right. Yep. But then the older I get, the more I'm like, okay, like social media it doesn't mean what I think it means. It doesn't signify anything about me. I have so zoomed out of this platform and truly seen it as a tool, a platform, something that I get to just have fun on. Yes. And I'm going to not let this thing run my life or like mean anything about me. Like I had made my peace. I was like, if I switch to business coaching and 80% of my audience leaves, goodbye. Have a wonderful life. Like I am not letting that be my signifier, like I've even thought like if my account got deleted and I had to start over tomorrow, okie dokie, like we're just going to figure it out. Right. Like just literally practicing thoughts like that of like the things that you think are important, zooming out, asking yourself, when I'm at the end of the day and it's just me and nobody can see me, nobody can see what I'm wearing, nobody can see how many designer purses I own, nobody can see how many likes my last post got. When it's just me, who am I and what matters to me, you know? And when we let that become the bright light and let that become our benchmark of like just keeping that pure and keeping that like, you know, like again, even in business, we can get caught up in the rat race where we're working 15 hours a day in order to hit that 15K month, that 20K month. And then it's like, oh my God, why did I want this money anyway? Yeah. So I could go on vacations that I'm not taking because I'm too busy. So I could have the freedom to be with my family who I'm not seeing because I'm in my office crying, that I could have, you know, emotional freedom from a boss, even though I'm the worst boss I've ever had. Like,
don't mean to myself.
Right. Like, what are you, you know, are you actually living the life that you think that these benchmarks are creating for you? Because like, I mean, I hate to like break some hearts or hurt somebody's feelings today, but like when we zoom out and look at the life that we have and look at our choices every day and how we're spending our time and energy, so many of us are just we're not where we want to be. And that's why I think we have so much lack of fulfillment in this world.
Oh my gosh. I couldn't have said it better. It's so true. And I'm not sure if it's just because of all the shiny objects of like, when you go into Instagram, it's like this instant gratification and like people showing like what their definition of happiness is when you can't see behind the scenes that they're actually miserable. And like, we're seeing all of this surface level bullshit and it's making us so disconnected from ourselves and from what we actually want. It's sad, but true that I talk to so many of my clients. I don't know if you experience this, where I'm like asking them, like, what does your most confident self look like? What does happiness look like to you in your life? And they don't have an answer to that question.
Yes. I knew you were going to say that because I was like, they never know. They literally can't tell me. They have no perception of what that version of themselves looks like. And like, you know, I think it's hard to nail down.
It is.
Ask me on a Monday and then ask me on a Friday what the happiest version of Lynette looks like, because Monday Lynette wants to be a millionaire and Friday Lynette wants to go sell the business off in an ashram in Bali. So,
yes.
You know, but like, it's totally true. And I do an exercise, or I used to do an exercise in my fitness program called the best self, where you talk about, or, you know, you design, if you will, your best self, like what that girl looks like, what she does for a living, how much money she makes, what she does with her time, who she's married to or dating, or if she is even with somebody, if she doesn't want to be. And people struggle so hard. They're like, Lynette, what do I need? And I'm like, how and in what world could I tell you what would make you most fulfilled? But it's like, we've just never considered it. Yeah. I think the closest that people get is short-term happiness, right? Which is what most people chase with, you know, happiness in the day and happiness in the moment, which is also what gets us in trouble with our weight and our health, because happiness in the moment is often a cheeseburger instead of a salad, or skipping the workout instead of going to the gym, which, I mean, you know that I'm the last coach that would ever shame anybody or penalize anybody for like making those choices. But we spend so much of our days chasing happiness in the moment that often costs us fulfillment.
Yep.
You know, because if you're saying that your ultimate fulfillment is to have the time and freedom and space to work for yourself and spend most of your time with your family, and yet what you're chasing every moment is that next sale, and you're never disconnecting from that because you're just chasing the happiness of the thrill of a sale, your chase for happiness is preventing you from your chase of fulfillment. You know, and realizing that, I think, is a really important shift for everybody, not just, you know, coaches, but everybody on earth.
Oh, it's so powerful, because just like you said, like that happiness is fleeting. Like it's not going to be there in an hour, in a week, in a month, in a year. And if we're constantly searching for that, we're never going to be fulfilled. Oh my gosh. It makes me think of that. There's some like video going around, and it's kind of creepy, but you mentioned like to your death, but it's like some stick figure man like chasing this money on like a fishing pole. Like he's working toward, you know what I'm talking about? He's running until he basically turns into bones and then falls into his grave. Every time I see that, I'm getting it right now. It gives me chills.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, because you know who sent me that was the team member that I mentioned, who like always pivots every time she like hates. I know, we love her. Every time that she doesn't love what she's doing, she just pivots. And like, she's had conversations with me because she's worked closely with me in my business for 3 years. And she's had conversations with me when she sees me in the rat race. You know, it's not in the last couple of years, it's been better. But when she first started with me back in 2018, she would see it. She would see it coming from a mile off, and she'd be like, hi, just checking in. You're miserable, doing what you love. So we need to fix something here. And, sometimes it meant delayed launches or canceled launches or taking a week off from social media. She used to literally change my password on Instagram so I couldn't get in. And she'd be like, take the weekend off, stupid. Like,
I love her.
We love a good friend who will change your Instagram password. But I mean, honestly, I think that just staying in that awareness of what makes you happy, but also what makes you fulfilled, which again, going on Instagram and posting something about fitness and seeing those billions of likes and comments and my audience going wild for it made me happy. Staying in fitness coaching did not make me fulfilled. It had stopped making me fulfilled for at least 6 to 8 months now, but I was doing it because I was good at it. And that made me happy, right? Having people tell me, oh my God, you're the best fitness coach. We love you, right? Having all the other fitness coaches in the industry be like, you're the queen. We're going to do everything you do, or posting the fitness content and having 1 million likes and questions and, just engagement and feeling loved from that, feeling like people cared about me. So I was doing the same thing, right? I was chasing what made me feel good in the moment, or maybe what made me feel safe versus what was making me feel fulfilled. And so, again, making that switch this past month, it was scary, in a lot of ways, but it was me saying, Lynette, your ultimate happiness and fulfillment is so much more important than you continuing the charade for other people. Because at the end of the day, they really don't care that much. No. Like of my followers, maybe some of them will hire me someday, but the average girl is just like, oh, Lynette's not doing fitness coaching anymore. Cool. Scroll. She doesn't care. And I'm over here I can't leave fitness for her. So dumb. Which
you gotta do it for you.
Yeah. And which is probably true in most of our lives, where we're trying to lose that last 5 pounds because we're so afraid that the girl we're meeting up with in 2 months that we haven't seen since high school is going to think we're fat. Girl, she's too busy worrying if she looks fat to you. She does not care. True. If your love handles come over your jeans a little bit, or if you have a double chin, she doesn't care. You shouldn't care.
Oh, yes. It's so true. We get so caught up in what other people think. And ultimately, they are so caught up in themselves. There's such an egocentric world where it's we're just focused on ourselves and we're not worried about what anyone else is doing. And so, I want to, I know that you strive to help other women. So I want to break that and have those connections and real relationships with people. But so often if you're changing your decisions based on what other people may or may not think, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. So I've loved this conversation with you. It's been amazing. And with everything that you're doing and all of these big steps and pivots that you're making, recognizing that, hey, I need to figure out what matters to me, asking that question, what do I really want? What is actually meant for me? I want to ask you that question. So what was on the other end of the thing that you recognize, this is what matters to me. This is what I want out of my life.
Do you see me tearing up right now as you're asking me this? I'm so embarrassed.
I love you. No, don't be embarrassed. You're not the first person I may cry on camera. It's just because I love connecting with you. And I want you to be super raw and vulnerable right now because you are inspiring so many just by speaking. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's such an important message because I feel like as a CEO, right? You're operating at a level where I was just talking to somebody recently, as a business owner and with a certain level of success, we are really operating where a lot of women don't reach until their 50s or 60s. Yeah. Right. So, which, and that's not to anybody listening to act like they're not. I think a lot of millennial women are very high achieving and are dealing with this, right? This high level of success that comes with high levels of pressure. And I think probably a lot of the listeners have also been very mean to themselves for most of their life. Especially if you are a type A, a high achiever, an athlete, good at anything ever, right? The world is just oh, you're kind of good at baseball. You have to become a pro, right? You were talking about. Yes. And so I just in this last year have made the commitment to just stop being mean to myself. And I think that was honestly the first piece of what it looked like to chase happiness instead of success was to be you have to be on your own team. I'm going to cry and there's just no stopping.
I'm sorry.
Like,
I am too.
it's just like, at the end of the day, like you may have a partner, you may have parents, you may have siblings that like really love you and root for you, but no one can ever love and root for you like your own self. And so if you are constantly at war within yourself and constantly like your position with yourself is just, you suck, you're not good enough, do more, do better, what an unhappy, unpeaceful way to live. 3 years ago, my husband and I moved out to the country because we were like, we just want to live in a peaceful outdoor environment where we spend time outside. We have this beautiful deck and this pool and Jordan, for the first 2.5 years of living here, I didn't use it like ever. I never sat on my deck. We bought this beautiful patio furniture. I sat on my patio maybe 2 times ever. Because I was too busy inside my stupid office worrying about my stupid business and being mad at my stupid self, right? Like, and so in the last year, I'm dragging out my answer here, but what has really been about, what I've really been chasing is just that sense of like peace and freedom, where, even when I'm working and I'm grinding in something in business, I have a sense of just, I'm happy. And I am not holding myself at a standard that makes me feel discouraged or like I'm not good enough. And really changing the relationship with myself, where when I hit an obstacle or I make a mistake, it's no longer, oh my God, you're so stupid, how could you have done this? It's, okay, so like, what are we going to do next? Or, okay, so like, something I tell myself all the time is, Lynette, you're always doing the best you can with the information you have available to you. Because most of us are, like, I genuinely don't think that most of us are making stupid decisions on purpose to like just make our lives harder, right? Sometimes we have, habits or addictions that can cause that to happen. But what's so important to me is that I'm living a life of peace, living a life where my stature is relaxed and my stature is open and just peaceful. And so I don't know if that even answers your question, but like those are the flood of emotions that hit me when you did ask your questions, was just like thinking of myself in my backyard, on my back porch with a glass of wine next to my super awesome, amazing husband, and just like letting myself be happy, just like letting myself be happy. Do we ever do that? Like, can we ever just like be satisfied? Like, oh my gosh, maybe you have 15 pounds to lose, but oh my God, you have a working body. Can you be happy for like 5 minutes?
Yes.
Or maybe you didn't make your 10K month, but you did make 7,500. Can we just let you be happy for a minute about that? Right? It's like, we just never let ourselves be happy. And so I've practiced so much more in the last year, just like, Lynette, just like, let yourself be happy. Let yourself be proud of yourself. Let yourself just feel good, and let the problems that you think exist, that you're probably mostly making up, let them go for like tonight. They're going to be there tomorrow. It's like, you get to just like release them for a little bit if you want to just sit and enjoy yourself.
Oh, what a beautiful shift. And I've seen it in you more and more, of just being like able to just like let things go and do, like, I just feel like you've put on these blinders of like, I'm not worried about anything else anyone else is doing. I'm going to keep doing my thing. You're prioritizing, like you said, your family, your home, what you want. You have that vision, which y'all, if you heard how she described it, you didn't skip a beat. You're sitting outside, you're on your porch, you have a glass of wine, you're next to your husband. That is the shit that matters at the end of the day. Yeah. And the fact that you're actively like coming back to that space again and again, it's so much more fulfilling than chasing the shit that we've chased in the past. So I just wanted to say thank you for sharing that part of you, because it's so powerful. And I think a big thing that I've had to do is like, when I'm hitting that like self-doubt or those thoughts start to creep in, I literally have to stop myself, and I don't want to cry because I might. And I put my hand over my chest and I literally just talk to myself and I say, I trust you.
Yeah.
And even if it's maybe not working out in the time that we think it should, even if like we're still struggling with these thoughts and emotions, come back to trusting yourself, come back to that level of peace and connection with you, because your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship out there at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Without Absolutely. You, I mean, what do you have?
Exactly. Okay, I can make this podcast like over an hour. So I'm going to like shift the emotion just because I'm so thankful for you just connecting with me tonight. I wanted to give you the rapid fire questions. So I kind of didn't tell her them yet, guys, but you're just going to answer them as quickly as possible. We'll wrap things up. And then guys, just make sure that you follow Lynette because her journey is so beautiful and she will help you make your dreams come true, whatever they are. So are you ready for the rapid fire questions?
Lay them on me.
All right, weird ones. Let's go. What is your favorite word?
Oh God. Oh my God. I don't know. What is my favorite word?
I don't know. What do you feel like you use a lot? What would your people say? What would Matt say? Bro. All right, bro. I like it. You did use it on the podcast, so I agree. Okay. Tacos or pizza?
Pizza.
Okay. What are your toppings?
My perfect pizza would be like mushroom, which I know is, not everyone's favorite, but mushroom, onion, pepperoni, like fresh basil, chopped garlic, bacon.
We should not have recorded this at lunch. I'm very hungry now.
Sorry.
No, it's good. All right. Stick with the food. Favorite dessert?
Oh my God. Probably. Ooh, that's so hard, but probably like a fresh, warm, gooey cinnamon roll.
Oh, yes. I'm always jealous of your post from, I almost said New Jersey. God, no. Las Vegas, where you're going and having this amazing dessert. I'm like, I literally don't want to go to Vegas for anything else but these desserts that Lynette is sharing.
Would be worth it. I mean, let me just make it clear it's worth it.
Oh, yeah. I'm going for that. I will let you know as soon as I do, but it's happening. Perfect. All right. Next one. Favorite sound or noise?
The outdoors, just like that, like summer night where like the crickets are starting and like there's no like cars because it's like summer night and it's just like buzzing. Ooh, it's good.
I like that. See, that's like more of like your vision. You're on your back porch, sun setting, that noise. Love it. And then last question. So as you know, this podcast is Confidently Uncomfortable. It's all about just leaning into that discomfort in order to grow. So I want to know, like, what is one thing, we kind of talked about this, but I want to know maybe deeper that people don't know yet. One thing that you're working towards that is uncomfortable for you, that you're working towards for your future.
One thing that I am working on that's a little uncomfortable, that's working towards my future. This is kind of a weird one, but I'm learning to be more comfortable talking about money online.
Ooh.
So,
we don't talk about enough.
Right. Well, and especially women and money, like it's so weird. I was telling my husband about this the other day, but like, a man posts a picture of his new Rolex and everyone in the comments is like, cool, sweet. That's a
hustler. Yeah.
Right. A girl posts a picture of her new Chanel bag and girls are like, you wasted $5,000 on a bag. Like, there's starving people in China, you bitch. Like it's
so true. The double standard is insane.
Yes. Or like the other day I posted about, my business and like it being a multiple six-figure business. And like, I got a few comments of like, well, did you really have to mention it was multiple six-figure? I'm like, did I really not have to mention? Like, that's a really big deal for a woman to make money online. Why don't we celebrate that? When some dude talks about it, it's like, oh my gosh, Gary V's a multi-billionaire. Let's all suck his dick. But like, as soon as a girl wants to talk about that she bought herself a nice thing, suddenly it's wasteful and wrong. So I'm wanting to like be willing to like talk about it more and like normalize this conversation of like, let women make money, let women talk about money, let women like talk about wanting to make a lot of money. And like, let's not put them in the corner or ask them, well, how much are you going to donate? Well, how much do you really need? Well, that's really wasteful. Well, don't you know, right? Like we need to stop that conversation unless we're going to do it to men too, but we're not going to.
We're not. We're not. I really, like when you said that, I immediately thought about how like, since we are young, getting back to like when me and you were like called the big girl, like the idea of like, the goal being to stay small. I really think the society is constantly trying to tell women to just stay small. Like, don't make noise. Don't shout out your compliments. Like, so we're taught to diminish any of our compliments. We're taught to like put down anytime someone tells us something that's great about us, we diminish it. We immediately like water it down. Anytime like we have an achievement, we don't talk about it. Like money. And I swear it's because the thing is if women start having this conversation about money, I could talk about this all day. They're going to realize that, hey, there's a big discrepancy in men versus women getting paid in the workforce in the 9 to 5. Like we need to talk about this shit. Otherwise, no one will know. Like, we need to do it, smash the patriarchy, all that ish. So keep doing that, Lynette. I'm so proud of you. That's awesome.
It's so funny because today, like, I made a post on my Instagram about like the Instagram algorithm and like how to navigate that. And some dude commented, like, basically mansplaining to me. He's like, oh, well, you just get good engagement because you're a pretty girl.
You shake your butt.
Yeah. I was like, okay, bro. So like, he's like going on and on. He's like, I like to post whatever I want and I'm not worried about followers. I like to post about like social issues and whatever mental issues. And so I go to his page and first of all, he's got like just like screenshots of like busty women and like the social issues. The time that I sucked off my Uber driver, like literally that's what's there. And I'm like, no. The man had the audacity to come up on my Instagram and tell me he has been posting about social issues, sir. But like, so many girls commented like defending me, and like in my DMs, they were like, this dude, like he's so stupid, Lynette. And I was like, no, you know what? I want this to be a lesson to women. If we had that much audacity in this world and that much confidence to just like act like we're something we're so not, like, we would be the billionaires. Yes. Move over Jeff Bezos, move over Elon Musk. Lynette Hoyle's coming in. Jordan Gomez is coming in.
I love it. And perfect, because we just recorded this and like Rihanna has just become one of the other billionaires. She's gotten put up.
Really?
With her Fenty brand. I'm super pumped. So like, let's keep it going. I feel like this was perfect time to record this episode. But Lynette, thank you so much for just being you and showing up like you always do, authentically yourself. Y'all, make sure you go follow her. Make sure you connect with her. If you even have an inkling about starting your own thing when it comes to coaching, talk to Lynette, because she is going to help you from the ground up and make you have more belief in yourself and get rid of that self-doubt. So I'm so thankful for you, Lynette. Thanks for being here today, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks again for listening to Confidently Uncomfortable. I love being able to connect with you here and honestly don't want it to end. So head over to my Facebook group, Body Confident Blueprint, and be sure to follow me on Insta at JGoFitLife. Also, if you're ready to get real confidently uncomfortable, go leave this podcast a 5-star review and email me the review screenshot, support@jgofit360.com, for a chance to win a free 30-minute fitness audit and goal setting session. I appreciate your support. See you next time.